Here is step number 1 in creating a sliced text with shadows in Photoshop. So on this new document, I will type in some text. I press T to enable the text tool, and I'm just going to write easy because this effect is so easy to do, and obviously you can choose your own text. Let's make this text bigger by scaling it proportionally. Center it by pressing Ctrl A to select all in the document, and then press on these two buttons to align the text in the center vertically and horizontally. To deselect all after you finish this task, just press Ctrl plus D. And now it's time to bring in a custom background. I'm going to scale it up to fill in the entire document and then press Enter. This new layer is above the text, so I will drag and drop it just below the text layer in the Layers panel. Great, now the text is visible again. Great success. And I can also delete this white blank layer because I don't need it right now. I want to change the color for the background, so it's time to add a hue saturation adjustment layer and place it above the background layer. I take the colorize box, bring the saturation slider somewhere between 85 and 90, and then take the hue slider and choose a nice purple color. I can also use the lightness slider and maybe bring it more to the left if I want to darken the background a bit more. Obviously, the text is too dark now, so I will change it, and for this I will enter the blending options. And you can do this by double-clicking near the name here, or the safest way is to right-click on this layer and choose blending options from the menu. I tick color overlay and then just choose this greenish yellow color. Okay. And now I will make the slice. I will cut the text using a very cool method. With the text layer selected, I grab the polygonal lasso tool, and then I make a point here outside the document, the second one here on the other side, and then finish the selection in the end by double clicking. I go and add a layer mask to this layer, and as you can see, the bottom part of the text is now hidden. That's because on any layer mask, black is hiding parts and white is showing parts of that layer. Let's duplicate the text with Ctrl plus J and then select the layer mask from this second text layer and invert it with Ctrl plus I. Now I have both parts of the text on two different layers. I can rename them very fast. And after this, I select the bottom part of the text, grab the move tool, and I can hold shift while pressing the arrows to move it to the right a bit, and why not use the rotation to make it even more interesting. Great, it's time to add the shadow, but please pay attention to this step because it's very important. So first I make sure the foreground color is set to black, and if not, I can press D to reset the colors. I choose the brush tool from here or by pressing B on the keyboard, and then set the flow of the brush to 5%. Let's add a new layer. It should be at the top, and this will be the layer dedicated for the shadow. With this new layer still selected, hold down Ctrl and click on the layer mask that belongs to the top part of the text. The selection is loaded, but if I start to brush right now, you can see that I paint inside the top part of the text. But I want to paint the shadow under it, so I press Ctrl Shift plus I to invert the selection. And now I just start to slowly paint under the top part of the text until I'm satisfied with the shadow effect. And look, I know you feel like you should leave now, but let me show you how to add some special effects to this text to make it even cooler than now. So you can see this very interesting shadow now that stays on this layer, and if you think it's too dark, you can easily take away from the effect by lowering the opacity here. I want to create a stamp visible layer now, so for this I use the shortcut, which is Ctrl Alt Shift and E, and this is basically merging all layers into a new one. I'm going to turn this layer into a smart object because this way, after I apply some effects to this layer, I can come back anytime and re-edit them. Let's choose the Camera Raw filter from the filter menu, and after it's loaded, the first thing I want to do is to increase the clarity from the basic panel and also add a bit more texture to this image. Next, I'm going to open the effects panel, zoom in just a bit, and add some grain, because the text doesn't have any texture at the moment. And after this, I will use this slider to add a soft vignette to the image. I press OK, and let's create a new layer because I will add another element here just to spice up things even more. I grab the brush tool, or I hit B on the keyboard, hold Alt to sample a color from the text, then I zoom out and make my brush very, very big. I set the float to 15% at the top here, and then I click or dab once with this big brush. Then I make the brush smaller, and I dab once again in this area, and I make it even smaller than this, and click one more time. And now I created this artificial light source from above that creates the shadow below the cut. And it's so cool, right? And if you love trying, creating, or experimenting with shadows, click on this video right here if you want to learn how to create realistic shadows on objects using a very cool method in Photoshop. I'm Christy, catch you in the next one.